They said opening your door to strangers could cost you everything. But for Jacob Miller, it gave him a reason to live again. The wind howled across the empty plains as Jacob stood outside his lonely ranch, shotgun in hand, staring at two figures emerging from the golden dust. Two young women, dressed in worn Apache garments, their eyes fierce yet desperate. No horses, no food, and nowhere else to go. In that moment, Jacob didn't know if he was about to save lives or lose his own. Jacob had lived alone for years, scarred by loss and silence. The land was his only companion, and the mountains his witnesses. When the sisters spoke, their voices trembled. They said their village had been attacked, their family scattered. Night was falling fast, and danger walked with it. Against every warning he'd ever heard, Jacob lowered his weapon and opened his door. Inside the small cabin, firelight danced on wooden walls as the sisters introduced themselves. Ayanna, the elder, proud and protective, and Nita, younger, with eyes full of quiet courage. They ate in silence at first, each bite heavy with mistrust. But hunger has a way of breaking walls, and soon words began to flow. They spoke of loss. Jacob spoke of the wife he buried years ago. Pain recognized pain. Outside, a storm gathered, and with it came shadows. Near midnight, hoofbeats thundered in the distance. Men, armed, searching. The sisters froze. Jacob knew then, whatever they were running from had found them. Without hesitation, he hid them beneath the floorboards and stepped out into the storm. 3 riders surrounded him, their faces hard, asking if he'd seen 2 Apache women pass by. Jacob's heart pounded like a drum of war, but his voice stayed steady. He said no. He stood his ground, a lone man against danger, ready to die for people he'd only just met. After endless seconds, the riders turned away, disappearing into the darkness. When Jacob lifted the boards, the sisters emerged, tears cutting paths through dust. Ayanna pressed her forehead to his in silent thanks. In that moment, Jacob felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. By morning, the storm had cleared. Sunlight painted the plains gold again. The sisters prepared to leave to find what remained of their people. But before they did, Nita placed a small beaded charm into Jacob's hand. For protection, she said, and for family. They walked away into the vast land, but Jacob knew he was no longer alone. From that day on, his ranch became a place of refuge, a shelter for the lost, and a reminder that sometimes the strangers you fear most are the ones sent to save you.